Hey Exile, it's me Pat of Exile. Do you want to stop thinking? Well, have you heard of ogres? I hope so, because your defenses in Path of Exile 2 is like an ogre, and ogres are like onions. They have layers and can make you cry if those layers are cut open. The game defines defenses as armor, evasion, and energy shield. Now, keeping yourself alive is also a matter of choosing engagements, as well as having maximum resistance, as well as knowing when to dodge, knowing mechanics, having enough move speed, and seeing through everything that is happening to know what is on the floor. And between all those things, Energy Shield tends to win out. Can it handle things alone? Of course not. Pinnacle bosses require you to learn the mechanics. But on that level, no defense actually holds up without mechanics. What I am saying is that Energy Shield is probably the best choice for general play, and thus for most people who will ever touch Path of Exile. And I have 5 reasons why I think that. Originally, I thought of only comparing Energy Shield to its compatriots, the other defenses, but the very first point we have kind of forces me to compare it to dodging and knowing mechanics. Point 1. Energy Shield is context agnostic. It does not care. Energy Shield shares something with life in that it does not care about you, like your friends when you talk about Pokemon. Its value does not decrease or increase with how much damage an attack does, or whether a certain element is on the floor or what kind of attack it is. It exists, and it helps. Sure, it may take double damage from chaos, but it still fundamentally does the same thing. Keeps you from dying. On the other hand, like a Tinder match, armor only cares about the physical. Evasion cares about the kind of attack, as it only avoids hits, which is like a Tinder match after they get what they want. But like your true love, Energy Shield does it all for you, because they love you. That's the most important part of this for gameplay scenarios and most players. That's a lot off your mental stack. But Pat, you can heal health with a potion. You can't do that with an Energy Shield. You have to avoid damage for a bit, and then it starts recovering. About that, number 2, Energy Shield recovers faster than life, especially in non-boss fights. Here's the thing. Okay, the bottom line is...
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Okay, here's the actual point. Recovering Energy Shield isn't actually difficult. The main difference between recovering health and Energy Shield is that Energy Shield requires a delay, right? But that's also sort of true for health, as most potions will heal you over time, not instantly. And the main reason is that health, thus far, does not have an equivalent to Grim Feast. What if enemies dropped some sort of ghost that gave you health? And what if that blood ghost also gave you an overshield if your health was full? Well, replace the word health with Energy Shield and you have Grim Feast, and all it will cost you is 30 spirit and killing enemies. Which is a good deal, considering at minimum you get 100 for finishing the campaign. It just wants you to do what you're here to do. Kill enemies, and pick up that little smoky thing, and bam, you get heals, or bam, you get overshield. This point does fall apart a little into instances. One is that not all of the spirit gems have been released, and life might get a similar gem. The other is that everything is equal in a boss fight. Well, some boss fights. Some boss fights have minions, others do not. But in many cases, life and Energy Shield are functionally identical in a boss fight, in that they cannot recover quickly. Unless you are running Ghost Dance with your evasion, but at that point, due to the wording of Ghost Dance, you will probably want more evasion than Energy Shield, making your build more evasion than Energy Shield. Although, as I alluded to before, pinnacle boss fights are less about your defenses and more about your game knowledge and performance. It's the bell curve of Path of Exile 2. First, you learn mechanics because you don't have the powers, abilities, or gear to just ignore the mechanics. Then when you get that gear and build, you can start ignoring mechanics because everything just dies too quickly or cannot touch you at all. But then you go to pinnacle content and then you have to go back to learning mechanics. Speaking of mechanics, it's something the Energy Shield has a lot of. Point 3, it's got a lot of support compared to health. As a defensive stat, it's got a lot of support nodes on the web, much like its brothers, Armor and Evasion, who we will discuss in point 5. Point 3 is all about how it compares to health, the closest stat to it, because they are basically just meat on top of your body. Well, one is magical meat and one is meat, but you get the point. Life does not have, currently on the passive web, as much support as Energy Shield. Energy Shield as a defense, as mentioned previously, has so many nodes. Maximum life nodes are few and far in between, and often what references maximum life either points to minion life or the actual reduction of maximum life. This makes sense, because no base stat actually directly adds to energy shield the way that strength gives health. However, that also means you get percentage bonuses for your energy shield that health would not. It also means that as of time of publishing, there's just a lot more things that look at and reference and improve energy shield compared to life. It's got items, like the Everlasting Gaze, which has its own set of problems, by the way. It's got the notorious Eldritch Battery, and by extension, Mind Over Matter. As a side effect of those things existing, it turns intelligence into the best stat in the game because now it doubles his life and mana. And most critically, and our point 4, Chaos Inoculation. Point 4, Chaos Inoculation exists. I'm sorry, I got a bit worked up in the previous part. I just really like this node, that's all. This may as well be called the Chaos Inoculation effect because it does have a warping effect on the game. Sure, you can call it inoculation, but it is more accurate to call it let's ignore a part of the game, which is similar to how DPS works in most content that isn't Pinnacle except on a defensive layer. Chaos Inoculation, for those who do not know, reduces your maximum health to 1, but you are just simply immune to chaos damage. The greatest weakness that Energy Shield has. As an added bonus, you are immune to bleed and poison as well. Fire? Yeah, no, that goes through your shield, tries to eat through it, that's still gonna hurt. It seems innocent at first until you think about just how much stuff there is in Chaos. Ritual Shrines have Chaos mods. If it's purple, you probably don't care about it anymore. The Chaos Trials have entire modifiers. I think 2 of them that you no longer care about. Actually, probably more than 2 because you also no longer care about poison and bleeding. Now, it doesn't automatically beat anything that has chaos in it. There's a lot of mixed damage type attacks, but it beats enough of them. And obviously, it doesn't combo with HP. Unless you're making a Temporalis runner, then maybe? But yes, it is single-handedly designed to work with. Energy Shield. As a bonus, it also makes itemization a little bit easier. With Chaos Immunity, you don't have to care about Chaos Resistance on your stats. Now, you can get complicated with this, and that might even be some sort of addiction for you, but you don't have to get complicated, which is the best part about Energy Shield. Point 5. It's simple. You don't need to think. Like my diabetes, it simply exists. Just stack it. Optimizing is a matter of making the number bigger. Armor, by definition, only handles the small hits. Evasion is a gambler's game, and while it does seem that the bigger number equals better, it also has the added complication of enemy accuracy affecting its overall usefulness. Energy Shield? Hi, I'm here. I'm gonna do work. Chaos hurts me a little bit more, but we have solutions to that. And I think that's the most appealing part of Energy Shield to me. I would have it on most of my characters that could conceivably run it. But 1, different modes require different strategies. And 2, I simply do not have enough int items to make that happen. Now, those are the 5 points I believe in, but there is a disorganized essay part, because I think I have heat stroke. I feel the need to clarify because people are very tribal now and very, aggressive. I don't mean that the other defenses are worthless. I just feel that Energy Shield, if accessible, is often the best option. It does mean that it is difficult to think about other defenses, especially for me when optimizing. Though skill expression and joy, definitely very important. So don't let that stop you from embracing a full gambling evasion build or tanky McTankerson. Well, that one depends on how they fix armor. My Flicker Strike Gemlin, for example, likes armor and high HP because it works better for that specific build than the items that work best for what I want to do with that build. Does Energy Shield then need fixing? No, I don't think so, and I don't even think that's the right question. It's not like the other builds can't hit the same peaks that Energy Shield can in terms of endgame content, and it's not without weaknesses. Working with Energy Shield requires investment into stun threshold to not get stun locked to death, which can happen even as a melee class. Maybe making it slightly harder to resist stuns with that little health is the move. That makes tanking more comparatively viable, while ES tanking becomes the wizard fantasy. It can resist magic and other stuff, but getting whacked by a brick takes them out. Additionally, it is often a lot less pressure on many builds, especially ones that don't have stats to spare, to just combine Energy Shield with other stuff. Evasion and Energy Shield have a lot of great support. I have a soft spot in Evasion particularly because it is the gambler's defense. And we're getting new things as we go by. Hopefully, armor and evasion get a bit more support as we get them. We're really early in the game's lifetime. There's a lot of uniques to come and a lot of skills yet to be announced and released. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for passing by. I appreciate it sincerely. I'm on Twitch too. Subscribe and follow as appropriate. We have some goals on Twitch, especially. Let's reach them. I am Pat of Exile, Patinator. I'll see you later.